Before you brew Rielle the Everwise, watch this video to learn about archetypes, budget, power level, helpful resources, and more. Rielle the Everwise is 1 blue-red for legendary creature human wizard. Rielle the Everwise gets +1/+0 for each instant and sorcery card in your graveyard. Whenever you discard 1 or more cards for the first time each turn, draw that many cards, 0-3. Rielle makes drawing cards very easily, and you can use cards like Faithless Looting to draw very efficiently. Faithless Looting is red for a sorcery. Draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards. Flashback, 2 and a red. You may cast this card from your graveyard for its flashback cost, then exile it. So if we cast this with Rielle, we draw 2, discard 2, then draw 2 again. So we drew a total of 4 cards and discarded 2 for just 1 mana. Cycling cards are another good example. Take Go for Blood as an example. It has cycle for 1 colorless mana. You can discard this card to draw a card. So you discard, draw a card, then you draw a second card from Rielle, drawing 2 cards using only 1 mana and 1 card. A lot of these 1 mana cycling cards are good. It's also worth noting that Rielle says each turn, so instant speed cards are especially valuable, and you can cycle cards at instant speed. It's important to run protection, since it's possible for Rielle to get removed in response to many of these spells, leaving us empty-handed. The most powerful way to build this deck is with Underworld Breach combo lines. You can just run tons of draw and discard, fill up your grave, then get Breach and win. Isochron Scepter and Dramatic Reversal are also helpful in case you can't get your main plan working. You can run Rielle as a Voltron commander due to her first ability. Rielle the Everwise gets +1/+0 for each instant and sorcery card in your graveyard. This will be the weakest way to build Rielle, but it can certainly be fun. Just try and get as many instants and sorceries in your grave as possible, then attack for lethal. But most decks with Rielle will just be draw decks. Just draw so many cards your opponents can't keep up. There's dozens of effects which become powerful draw with Rielle, but I'll just list some of the most powerful ones. Change of Fortune has you discard your hand, then draw a card for each card you've discarded this turn, so it's useful even if you've already gotten the Rielle trigger. Tolarian Winds has you discard your hand, then draw that many cards for just 2 mana. Breakthrough is X and a blue for a sorcery. Draw 4 cards, then choose X cards in your hand and discard the rest, so you can get a fresh hand with 4 extra cards for 1 mana. Or you can pay more and save the best cards. Once you've drawn many cards, there are many options of how to win with this type of deck. You can run effects like Glinthorn Buccaneer, which is 1 red for creature with haste, and whenever you discard a card, Glinthorn Buccaneer deals 1 damage to each opponent. Gralin Skyshark Raider essentially has the same effect. Niv Mizzet Perun and the Locust God trigger whenever I draw a card. These are all great ways to turn our draw into a win. You can just combo off, since you'll be drawing so many cards you'll be sure to find a combo, or you can storm off and cast tons of spells and use those win cons. But Rielle only triggers the first time you discard each turn, so the spells we cast this way won't be as good. In terms of power level, Rielle is cEDH viable, but she's not a tier 1 deck by any means. You can of course do lower power levels. Tell people if you're running Underworld Breach, Isochron Scepter, and Dramatic Reversal, and if you're going for a Voltron, value, or draw trigger win. And of course let people know if you have fast mana or an abundance of removal. For building this on a budget, Rielle turns a lot of mediocre cards into good cards, so she's an excellent option for budget. You'll miss out on some of the best cards, but there will be plenty of powerful cards to make a good deck on a tight budget. To jumpstart your brewing, I left helpful links and resources in the description. And there's several good cards that I haven't mentioned yet. Harmonic Prodigy will double your Rielle trigger each turn. Forbid is a counterspell with buyback, choose and discard 2 cards, which will draw you 2 cards from Rielle, so you don't lose cards and can counter things repeatedly. Firestorm will help you deal some damage. Keep in mind that it requires X targets, so you can't discard more cards than the number of targets you have. Fateful Showdown and Channeled Force also convert your cards into damage. Turbulent Dreams is like a Cyclonic Rift that recycles your hand. Is It Charm, Frantic Search, Bazaar of Baghdad, Burning Inquiry, and many more are efficient draw with Rielle. I also thought I should mention Baral, Chief of Compliance, Foil, Surly Badger Soar, Patchwork Gnomes, Chasm Skulker, Anger, and Chandra's Ignition. Like and subscribe if this video helped you with your Rielle deck, and watch this video next because I hosted a $50 budget Commander deck building competition.